Hey guys, it's Brigitte with San Diego Seed Company, and today we're going to do a look back on the carrot seeds that we planted in a video a few weeks ago, see how they're doing, what they look like, and what you need to know for the next steps of growing your carrots. But before I do that, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you're notified anytime we put a video out. Okay, so let's get right into it. Here's the babies. These are the seeds that we planted about 3 weeks ago on camera, and you can see that we have really nice germination. Both of these rows are really full, and if you remember from the video, or if you haven't seen the video, make sure you go check it out. Basically, we planted these seeds and we covered them with vermiculite. And then we covered this whole pot, after we watered it really well, we covered it with a piece of cardboard. Now what that does is it ensures that this small pot will not dry out and the seeds stay moist the whole time to germinate. That is the key with carrots, and that is what makes it so difficult to direct sow carrots in your garden. If you don't have good irrigation, or if you live in a really hot climate like we do, it sometimes feels near impossible to get good germination of your carrot seeds. And those are the really two key pro tips that I can give you, is covering it lightly with vermiculite or a fine dusting of soil, and then covering what you planted with either row cover, burlap. You can use cardboard, you can use a piece of plywood if it's a big area. The point is, the seeds do not need light to germinate. They simply need to stay moist the whole time. And by keeping light off of the soil, you can guarantee they're going to stay moist the whole time. With these guys, because they're planted in a very small pot, we had to really monitor them closely to make sure that this pot didn't dry out. Timing and weather was on our side. After we planted them about 3 weeks ago, so it was early December, it's been cold and it's been moist. So it hasn't been an issue. Now, if we were to do this in the fall, in say September, October, even November, I would have to water this potentially almost every day because the weather is so hot and it is so dry here in Southern California. So you gotta watch them, you have to pay attention. It's really important to remember, the smaller the vessel, the more surface area it has, right? This pot has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides that air can flow around it, meaning it's going to dry out quicker than, say, your garden bed. So I gotta watch this every day to make sure it doesn't dry out. Now, we've got them to germinate, and that's a very exciting and hard thing to do if you're a brand new gardener. So give yourself a pat on the back, be excited, but the next thing you have to do is you have to thin these. Otherwise, you'll never actually get nice, big, long taproots on your carrots that you're gonna consume. So I know it's really hard, but when we're going in here and we're looking at these, you have to simply go through and pick out some of these seedlings. Now you can see that I'm not doing it very, precisely. I'm not going in and snipping one out or the other. But what I am doing is I'm using my fingers, and I'm using them lightly to pull up on here, and I'm naturally pulling out any of them that are not well rooted. Maybe they've fallen over, maybe they are succumbing to dampening off or other diseases. So I'm really just taking out basically the weaklings. I mean, and look how many I'm pulling out. It's a lot. Now it's important to look at this and see this tiny little root needs room so that it can grow to be an actual carrot. If I let this guy grow together this close, I'm never actually gonna get carrots like you see at the farmer's market. They will be spindly, they'll be small, and they're always gonna be competing with each other, so you have to thin. Now, what I like to do, I like to go through and thin every week or so. I'll do a hard thinning now, so I'm getting the majority of these out, and then I will go in a week later and I will do it again. You'll notice such a big difference after each time you thin. It's like the plants regain all this energy and grow much quicker and much stronger, and you'll see a lot more leaf development up top. You'll see them, they're basically growing better because they have less competition, which is really important. Now, I do want to note, one important thing that you can do is when you plant your carrot seeds, you don't have to plant them as densely as I did here. We did this because I wanted you guys to see what a good, healthy carrot patch looks like. But really, once you are really good at starting your carrot seeds and you know they're going to germinate and you feel confident, you can be way more careful when you plant your carrot seeds to not plant them so close together and sow them so thickly. That's a good tip, which is gonna help you, which is gonna lessen the amount of work you have to do in the long run if you do a little bit more work in the beginning. Now, it's easy to oversow or sow too thickly with carrot seeds, partly because of the size of the seed. They're really small, right? It's very difficult to go 1, 2, 3, 4. There are little handheld seeders that you can use that will help a little bit, but as a general rule of thumb with carrot seeds, because sometimes they don't germinate as quickly or as easily as other crops, you do want to sow a little bit more than you actually want in the long run, knowing that you're going to thin it. This here is an example of oversowing. This is sown way too thickly, but again, it was for the video. I wanted to show you guys what it looks like to have a nice, healthy, thick carrot patch and how you can get this if you follow the pro tips. So like I mentioned, I'm gonna thin these every week, and you'll see each week they're gonna start bulking up more and more and more. They're gonna be happier and happier because they're gonna have more room to grow individual roots and not have all of their roots all grown super close together. Now, this is a variety of carrot that has short, stubby little roots, and I did that specifically because we're growing in a small pot. I don't want to grow a carrot that has a massive root that is going to take a bunch of room. I want something that is suitable for container growing. This is our Germinated carrot, and so they'll do really nicely in here. And now we're going to continue to do videos, and you guys can follow us and this carrot growing experience so that you can learn everything that you need to know each step of the way. I also want you guys to be realistic about how many carrots you can get in a particular container or an area. And again, this is the Germinated carrot, which is a little bit stubbier, fat, little guy. Depending on the varieties, if they're even smaller baby carrots, you might be able to fit more. But really, this is a pretty small container to grow carrots in. If you're growing on a patio in a small garden, it's absolutely still possible to grow carrots. Just keep in mind, you're not going to get 100 carrots out of a container this big.